Hello and welcome. You're watching India Global. This is a show that gets you all the big stories that we are tracking from India and around the world. But first up, as always, we start with the headlines. First big story that we're tracking on India Global today. Trump and Elon Musk feud flares over the big, beautiful bill. Musk threatens to launch his own party, America Party, if Trump's mega bill passes. Trump hits back, suggests DOGE review Musk's subsidies in order to save the federal government big money. Rice rage and racism. Mamdani attacked for eating with hands. Go back to third world. Texas congressman's racist remarks. Even as this escalates the larger debate about whether Indian Americans continue to feel and get racist remarks there. India-US likely to finalize bilateral trade deal soon. White House confirms India-US trade deal is set to be signed soon. Indian officials extend their visit in America to iron out last-minute details regarding the trade deal. International Crimes Tribunal set to hear charges against Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. She has been charged with crimes against humanity for her role in the violent mass protests in Bangladesh last year. And Starlink nears India launch as SpaceX clears key hurdles. Viewers, the top story that we are tracking on India Global. Elon Musk is going scorched earth over Washington's latest $5 trillion spending bill. In fact, he's calling it insane and warning that if the bill passes, he will launch his own party, a brand new political party, the America Party. In a fiery post on his social media platform X that he owns, Elon Musk slammed both parties, that is the Democrats and the Republicans, and termed them as uniparty, essentially saying they're both extensions of each other, and branded Congress the Porky Pig Party. He says any lawmaker who votes for the bill, which bill is this? This is the big, beautiful bill, which actually has almost the entire Donald Trump's political capital invested in it. He says that that bill should, anybody who supports that bill, their heads should hang in shame, and promises to bankroll primary challengers against them in 2026. Musk, who's already spent nearly $300 million backing Trump's campaign, now appears to be turning against him. But Trump is firing back. He claims Elon Musk's outrage is really about losing the subsidies with regard to EVs, the electric vehicles, and said Tesla would not survive without government support. However, Elon Musk denies it's personal, calling the bill as debt slavery and warning it could very well bankrupt America. In his words, all I'm asking is that we do not bankrupt America. This is what Elon Musk said. He is now threatening to challenge nearly every sitting Republican who supports the bill. Now, why is it going to come 2 years? Remember, elections take place every 2 years when it comes to the House of Representatives. The senators have a 6-year term, but the House of Representatives churn every 2 years, which is why next year, when the midterm elections come, Elon Musk is saying that he's going to not back anybody who is supporting this bill. And July 4th is the deadline that the Republicans have set for passage of the bill. It could, in fact, light more than just fireworks in D.C. Musk says this fight isn't over. If Congress passes the bill, he's launching his own party and promises that they will lose their primary if it's the last thing I do on earth. This is the amount of effort and focus that Elon Musk has put in terms of its opposition to big, beautiful bill. All right, viewers, staying with what's happening in America, and this is extremely shocking that's come to light. It started with a racist tweet and has now snowballed into an all-out culture war. Texas Congressman Brandon Gill slammed New York Assembly member Zohran Mamdani for eating rice with his hands. And his message was clear: if you don't eat Western, go back to the third world. A user quickly pointed out that even Gill's own family eats this way, attaching a photograph of his father-in-law. Others pointed out the irony. Americans eat pizzas, tacos, fries. They eat the whole host of things with their hands all the time. But this seems less about food and far more about what really is happening there and who's allowed to belong in America. From Vivek Ramaswamy and Kamala Harris to OpenAI executive Sriram Krishnan, Indian Americans are being increasingly targeted just for rising too far. Multiple studies indicate racism has spiked. Hate incidents against Indian Americans have more than doubled in just 4 years. They help run America's hospitals, tech labs, small businesses. Yet, Indian Americans are increasingly getting treated as outsiders. In 2025, how American do you really have to be to just be American? That is the big question. Because for millions of Indian American families, it seems the answer is still, well, much more. And we must ask who belongs and who keeps asking as to how do you go about proving it. Make no mistake, viewers, Zohran Mamdani is not my ideal. He has and continues to provide enough reason to doubt where he actually stands when it comes to his ideological clarity. But as far as this racism attack is concerned, this needs to be called out. And that's exactly what we are doing right here on India Global. Indian Americans deserve better. They are part of the American society, culture, economy, and this racist attack needs to be called out. So what if it is against Zohran Mamdani, a man with whom many, including me, have deep ideological divisions with? All right, shifting focus now to what could be a big trade deal that could be in the offing very soon. 8 days to go for the US to restart reciprocal tariffs. Why? Because 9th of July is the date when Donald Trump wants to once again hit the button when it comes to starting the reciprocal tariffs. The pause will go away. There appears to be a stalemate in the India-US trade talks, with New Delhi now hardening its position on offering duty concessions on agricultural products. The silver lining at the moment, the White House says a deal with India may be very much on the anvil. And in fact, as President Trump prepares to finalize new tariff decisions for countries unwilling to negotiate, trade talks are now racing against a July 9 deadline. As I said, that's the deadline by when the 26% reciprocal tariffs actually kick in and will snap back into effect. India is holding firm, especially on agri and dairy sectors, it says, that are very sensitive to be opened up to large-scale American investment. But it has offered tariff relief when it comes to 90% of the goods. Now, with negotiators extending their stay in Washington, both sides are now pushing for an early win and laying the groundwork for a broader deal by 2025. Now, aiming to double the trade to $500 billion by 2030 is what the aspiration and the long-term goal here is, and which is what the two sides ideally should be working towards. Before we go any further, I want to play out what exactly the White House said as far as a trade deal is concerned, which could be a big moment as far as the India-US bilateral relations are concerned. Listen in.
The President said that last week, and it remains true. I actually just spoke to our Secretary of Commerce about it. He was in the Oval Office with the President. They are finalizing these agreements, and you'll hear from the President and his team, his trade team, very soon when it comes to India.
And on China? Counter China on that front?
Yes, I mean, look, India remains a very strategic ally in the Asia-Pacific, and the President has a very good relationship with Prime Minister Modi, as you know, and he will continue to have that.
External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar is on an official visit to Washington at the invitation of Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Jaishankar will participate in a meeting of the foreign ministers of the Quad grouping that will focus on new proposals to advance a common vision for a free and open Indo-Pacific. The Quad ministers, foreign ministers meeting on 1st of July will discuss on the, and in fact will build on the discussions that were held at an earlier meeting in Washington on 21st of January. Remember, this is the first meeting when the two sides will be meeting after Operation Sindoor. Ever since the success of the Operation Sindoor that India had launched on Pakistan, this is the first time you will have the foreign ministers of India and the US meeting together, of course, as part of a Quad grouping, and commentary regarding cross-border terrorism could be another important thing to watch out for as far as this meeting is concerned. What else is likely to be on the agenda? Mohammad Ghazali with the answer.
External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar is in the United States. He is going to attend the Foreign Ministers Meet of Quad, a group which is widely believed to share the interest of Indo-Pacific region. Japan, Australia, India and United States are part of this group. And particularly this visit of Dr. S. Jaishankar is very significant, assuming that it is happening in the backdrop of Operation Sindoor and also the conflict in West Asia between Iran and Israel. Dr. Jaishankar will be sharing his views, India's stand on terror, and why it is important, because we know that after Operation Sindoor, how Donald Trump went on to say on multiple occasions that he was the one who brokered peace between India and Pakistan, or a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, which was categorically rejected by the External Affairs Ministry here and also by Prime Minister Modi when he spoke to Mr. Trump on the sidelines of G7 in Canada recently. But besides that, India will also present its views on the conflict in West Asia between Israel and Iran. And besides that, for what the meeting is happening is related to the Asia-Pacific region. We know that how Chinese aggression is increasing every day in South China Sea, and it's perceived as a threat to the Quad members as well. So these issues will prominently feature in the meeting when Dr. Jaishankar will meet his counterparts from Australia, Japan, and also with Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State of the United States.
All right, another very important story that must be addressed is India and Bhutan approving 10 projects worth over 1,000 crore rupees covering sectors such as healthcare, connectivity and urban infrastructure, and also reviewed other programs worth 10,000 crore rupees, including implementing New Delhi's support in the neighboring country from 2024 to 2029. The Indian side also agreed to make revisions in the allocations for some projects because of evolving requirements. These issues were taken up during the India-Bhutan Development Cooperation talks that were held in New Delhi. All right, viewers, on that note, a quick break. We return with more stories, including the latest as far as Bangladesh on the other side of this break. Stay with us. Viewers, we now turn attention to what's happening and unfolding in Bangladesh. Today is an important day when Sheikh Hasina's trial is set to begin. And in fact, let me walk you through what exactly is it that the kind of charges that are against Sheikh Hasina. This is the International Crimes Tribunal, ICT, that was actually started under Sheikh Hasina's tenure, and now she stands trial for some of those charges. And what are those? Let me walk you through. The first big charge that is levied against her is murder, torture and inhumane acts. This is all pertaining to the 5th of August uprising that took place last year. It was termed the student revolution, the student protest, but what followed is what the world got to see there. The first charge is this. Let's move ahead. The second charge, ordering lethal force on protesters. As I said, the student protesters who allegedly brought down the government, and this is the charge that has been leveled against Sheikh Hasina, that lethal force was used against them. In fact, there were large-scale deaths as well that happened. Why is what ideally the inquiry should be. The charges against Sheikh Hasina are in an effort to find that as well. Aiding and killing of protesters is protester Abu Said. That's one specific additional charge that has been levied against her. These are all charges pertaining to the incidents that and the developments that led to the student uprising that took place on 5th of August, after which Sheikh Hasina left and took asylum. Now, the other charge against her is planning Dhaka killings of 6 demonstrators. These are the kind of charges that have been leveled against her. Let's move ahead. Let's now talk about the second aspect, which is plotting and shooting of 5 protesters. So all the protesters who lost their lives during that entire uprising, against that, Sheikh Hasina is now standing trial in ICT, and these are the charges leveled against her. Now, let's talk about the other aspect of Bangladesh, which is what has happened since Mohammad Yunus took charge. After Sheikh Hasina fled, then Mohammad Yunus became the leader of the interim government. And what has really happened as far as Bangladesh's journey under Mohammad Yunus is concerned, I'm going to put that out as well. First and foremost, the sense one gets is that there's an Islamic extremism that is on the rise in Bangladesh. Violence has surged when it comes to women. Only 48 hours back, a shocking case came to light about a Hindu woman who was actually targeted, raped and filmed on social media. Next, minority Hindus have been targeted. Their temples have been demolished. Again, about a couple of days back, we had a temple being demolished in Bangladesh. And let's not forget Chinmay Krishnadas, a man who ideally should have been right here for you viewers to understand. He is symbolic of the kind of threats and persecutions that many believe that Bangladeshi minorities are facing. And then there are industries that are facing severe crisis. The garment industry, which is pretty much the backbone of the Bangladeshi economy, is facing tremendous pressure, and that has cascading impact on its economy as well. Then there's Mujibur Rahman's legacy that has been erased. He's no more the father of the country. His name has been, and his photograph has been removed and scrubbed from the currency notes as well. And lastly, ties with Pakistan have been revived like never before, and in fact they are doubling down on those. So this is all that has happened in the last, ever since Mohammad Yunus took over. And before that, we told you what are the exact charges that Sheikh Hasina is standing trial for. Let me now get in Saurabh Gupta, my colleague who's really been tracking developments very closely for us. Saurabh, now this is an important trial that will take place. Explain to us what is likely to happen over the course of these proceedings in the next couple of weeks, couple of months. Go ahead.
Well, many are already telling us that this trial or the end of the trial or the outcome of the trial is a foregone conclusion, and many believe that this is something that is taking place without proper representation for Sheikh Hasina. Even though she has a state-appointed counsel, many are questioning the defense, but this is something that is a legal process. It will have its way of carrying forward, and at this point the crimes that have been listed against Sheikh Hasina is something that can actually lead to the death penalty under the law. So obviously many are looking at the outcome already, even though it's the early stages of the trial, because there is a huge political impact of that. Elections have been announced. The Awami League has been banned, which was the party in power till August last year. It also won the last election in 2024, January. And obviously Sheikh Hasina's exile from Bangladesh, and also following this trial and also the banning of the Awami League, are seen as efforts to erase the legacy of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the father of the nation. And this trial is something that many believe within the establishment, within the interim government, that is a legal process against someone who presided over these protests in which lives were lost. But on the other hand, if you speak to Awami League supporters and if you speak to Sheikh Hasina's advisors or former ministers, they say that this is a trial without proper representation. This is a trial that legally is not sound, given the fact that who the person representing Sheikh Hasina is someone who's state appointed from the equivalent of what we have in India, which is legal aid, and therefore they say that there is no opportunity for a proper defense. And the Awami League already in the past has said that this is a continuing battle against the Awami League, and a battle of erasing the legacy of the Awami League and the 1971 Liberation War.
All right, we're going to leave it there, Saurabh, and keep coming back to you for more details on this. As Saurabh was saying, that is it a fair trial that is being given to Sheikh Hasina? And let's put that out to Mohammad Rashid, who's an associate professor at Dhaka University, joining us live on the broadcast. All right, sir. First and foremost, in your assessment, is the trial that is being done, how soon do you think it's likely to take the proceedings, and more importantly, do you think Sheikh Hasina is going to get a fair trial?
Thank you so much for connecting with me. I think your reporter also, point out the main trial against former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. So I think the investigation department, like the International Crime Tribunal probing unit, now actually working on the investigative report about particularly the evidences against the murder, attempted murder, systematic killings, and also shootings on the mass protester, particularly the students who came out into the street last year. So some of the audio clippings which actually depict the command former Prime Minister given to the law enforcement agencies, and also some video footage which has been collected by the Crime Tribunal, International Crime Tribunal, against the cases, his charges against her. So those are the evidences. I think the crime tribunal prosecutor has reported that they will produce that report and given to the court within the due time, and then the hearing will be started timely.
What about concerns, sir, as far as this entire trial that is underway right now, that is taking place when Sheikh Hasina is not there in the country? There are concerns that will the proceedings be free and fair, and is she being given proper representation? A question that many are asking. Do you think that is the case?
So my point is always, I mean, he should be given proper chances to present her position. But at the moment, and her attorneys are there to the court to present on behalf of her. But the reason is at the moment, there is a order from the prosecutor to place before the court in last month in mid-June, but she couldn't able to reach to the court. But but her attorneys was there to present on behalf of her. But I think the International Crime Tribunal should given her proper chances to give her a statement on regard of this cases actually pursued against her. So my position is she should give a fair trial, and she should give a fair trial. And the crime tribunal actually working on the evidence that are actually available in the media, social medias, and also various the various spheres of the audio clippings, video clippings, which related to the mass killing and systematic operation and targeting killings of the mass protesters. And you might know that even Office for Human Rights, they also produced investigated report, which also found that some 1,400 people were killed and many were injured in the last July and August protests that taken place in Bangladesh. So in their report, they also found systematic abuses, systematic killings, violence has been taken place by the government-initiated, government-instructed law enforcing agencies, intelligence agencies, and there are liability those who will be in the helm of power when this murder and attempting murder and also violence, bloodshed taken place. So those are the basis of this trial, and I think you already reported that in your report.
All right. Let's leave it there. Thanks much for speaking to us on NDTV. The hope is that the trial should be fair and free. And at the end of the day, Sheikh Hasina's trial should be fair, and it should not be a witch hunt. All right, shifting focus now to another important story that we're tracking. Well, this could be extremely significant that the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, will address a major three-day gathering of Buddhist religious figures this week ahead of his 90th birthday. As his followers wait for the Tibetan spiritual leader to share details about his succession in a move that could irk China. Beijing views the Dalai Lama, who fled Tibet in 1959 after a failed uprising against Chinese rule, as a separatist and says it will choose his successor. The Dalai Lama has said that his successor will be born outside of China, urged his followers to reject anyone that's been chosen by Beijing. Now, if the announcement does come over the weekend when his 90th birthday celebration will be underway, it then paves the way for the next successor to take over, the next spiritual leader of the Tibetan people to take over, something that is bound to lead to more tensions with regard to China and Beijing. And that is why this announcement is going to be extremely significant. All right, shifting focus now to an update as far as Starlink is concerned. This could be a major push as far as digital connectivity in India is concerned. SpaceX Starlink satellite internet service inches closer to operational status in India. And as things stand, Dr. Pawan Goenka, who's the chairman of InSpace, has confirmed that SpaceX's Starlink is close to securing final approvals, with OneWeb and SES also in the mix. Rural and remote regions could soon gain high-speed connectivity from space. How soon? Well, it could be weeks and at best months when Starlink's connectivity reshapes digital inclusion in India. All right, with that, we wrap things up on this edition of India Global. Thanks so much for watching.